This is Concepts Video 5, the GeoSketch tool, a continuation of the discussion of inferencing. And we're going to use inferencing to construct a building from aux views using the line tool. And in this case we're going to work on this V-shaped building. And it's easier to define the profile of that building by working at the roof rather than at the ground level. So we'll first tap that Alt key and set our working plane to the ground level that we established in the last video of -22 feet and 6 inches. And now our cursor will be tracing out points on that ground plane. So we'll put the cursor at the ground point in the image, and then this time we'll hold down the Alt key, and as we trace out the edge of the vertical edge of that building, you see a red line being drawn in the modeling space, which represents the height of the building. So we can measure the height of the building and see that it's about 186 feet 9 3/8 inches, which of course is an approximation, and we'll round it off to 187 feet. And select OK. Now our working plane is set to 187 feet, and we can start constructing the profile of this building. So we'll start back here in this tangent edge, and we'll draw one edge, and once we get to this corner we'll start getting our inferencing to the previous edge, telling us that it's perpendicular to it. And then we go to the next edge, and in this case it is not perpendicular, so we don't get any inferencing. And over here it's also not perpendicular, so we don't get inferencing. We'll come out to this corner. Here we have another 90-degree corner, so we'll get our perpendicularity inferencing. Go out to this corner, and then go to this tangent point. Now we'll switch to the arc tool and make it over at the start point of that first edge, and our inferencing will tell us either that it's tangent to the left edge or that it's tangent to the right edge. It can't be tangent to both, so we might choose just to put it at some point in between. And because we started at the roof of the building, we'll extrude it down to the ground plane. Now one last thing about the inferencing is the inference buffer. As we define profiles and profile geometry, each line that we add, and I'll go back to the ground plane, 0. As we define lines, they'll get added to the inference buffer. Now if we want to see what is in the inference buffer, we can hold down the tab key, and it shows us in red what is in the inference buffer. If we want to add things to the inference buffer, we can put the cursor over an edge and hit the tab key, and it gets added to the inference buffer. So we can go over here to this edge and add that. Over and add this edge. You can add edges at any altitude as well. We can, so that's similar to hovering in the SketchUp inferencing, but with this you can always see what is in your inference buffer, and you can also clear the inference buffer. So if we go to the context menu and say clear inference buffer, now if we hold down the tab key, nothing turns red because there is nothing inferencing. But we can always add things back using the tab key and add these whatever edges we want to be in the inferencing buffer, and we'll get inferencing to them. So that completes the discussion of the GeoSketch inferencing, and that's the final concepts video. We'll now proceed with videos describing each of the tools in the GeoSketch main toolbar.